Good morning. I'm Chantel, the director of the youth choir. We're so excited to have the youth choir here today with the adult choir and the band. Woo! And since May, we're celebrating creativity. We figured what better way to start the service than with a song by Stevie Wonder called Sir Duke, all about music and the roots of music. And creativity is playful, is synonymous with playful. So can you guys be playful with us to start out the morning? All right, let's do this.
Good morning. Whether you're here in person or joining us online, welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. I'm Chris Jimerson, co-lead minister for values and mission here at the church. My pronouns are he, him, but it doesn't matter because we're going to skip everything else today and just have their music. Just kidding. We are a spiritual community dedicated to a free and responsible search for truth, meaning, and beauty. Sometimes as we explore that meaning and that beauty, it can bring up emotions for us. If that happens for you during the service, please do take care of yourself and know that I and your fellow church members are here for you. Today we will be exploring some things that people say that can sometimes feel hurtful to us, so know that. I especially want to welcome you if you're visiting with us this morning. If you're online, please say hello in the comments and let us know from where you're watching the service. If you're here in person, please join us in the fellowship hall for coffee and conversation after the service. That's back through these double doors, through the triple doors, and to your right. Either way, please go to austinuu.org when you get the chance. Follow the link to worship and then the link to our online visitor form. If you'd fill that out, we'd love to get to know you just a little bit better. We come from a long tradition of seeing a spark of the divine in every person. And it's in that tradition that I invite you to greet the holy among us this morning, either in the comments online or by turning to those around you if you're here in the sanctuary.
Louder? Is that better? I'm so glad we have so many nice things to say to each other this morning. I'm Kelly Stokes. I'm the Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and we get to light the chalice together today. So let's say the words together. They're going to come up on the screen, and they're in your order of service. This is the flame we hold in our hearts as we strive for justice for everyone. This is the light we shine upon systems of oppression until they are no more. This is the warmth that we share with one another as our struggle becomes our salvation. Now let's rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 347 in the Gray Hymnal, Gather the Spirit. In the Gray Hymnal 347.
This congregation has a mission. It's our common religious purpose. It arose out of our religious values: transcendence, compassion, community, courage, transformation. And these values and that mission guide all our decision making. They inform our programs and ministries. We put our mission on our wall and we say it together every Sunday. Let's do so now. Together, we nourish souls, transform lives, and do justice to build the beloved community. There's someone with us this morning that has worked with us the past several months who has helped to make sure that this congregation will continue to live out that mission well into the future. Her name is Reverend Jonalou Johnstone. I'm going to invite her and Kelly Rayleigh and Vicki Almstrom up in just a moment to express our appreciation to Jonalou. You can come up if you want to. First, I want to say, though, that there are no words to express what a pleasure and a blessing it has been to do ministry and to do ministry with Jonalou Johnstone. Her wisdom, her experience, the things, the work she's done with this church to help us secure its future are just beyond words for me to even begin to express how grateful I am. So, Jonalou, thank you very much. Now, y'all please come up.
I'm Kelly Rayleigh. I'm a member of our Board of Trustees and chair of the transitions team. A little less than a year ago, we approached you to try to convince you to come out of retirement, hoping that you would lead us through an important year for our church. Reverend Jonalou, your thoughtfulness, persistence, hard work, and surprise, good humor have made us stronger. In addition to engaging sermons, you've helped us process grief, revitalize our caring team, and so much more. There's more work to be done, but you've left us in a good position for our search for our next settled minister. So thank you.
So we don't want her to leave empty-handed, although she'll have to today because I didn't quite get to the end of the project that I was doing. But all of the contributions have been a connection to us and have been with your title of Reflection and Discovery. And so just to help remind you of that, you're going to get a finished stole, but I have enough of it here for you to get an idea of what it is. So on the front are discovery and reflection. And then the fabric on the back actually is designed with a picture of this that Chris took, that was developed into fabric for Meg's stole, that now is part of her stole as well.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
So
Wait a minute, I get to hug you too.
Instead of a story today, we are thanking our teachers, the church volunteers who make our children and youth programs not just possible, but wonderful. What we're giving you today is a little chalice. I'm going to take apart one of these, sorry. One of these presents. There's a little chalice to take home. Sorry, Kenzie, for your beautiful wrapping. So that's this little chalice to take you home, but because you nurture the growth of our youngest members, we're giving you a living, growing symbol of flame, as well as a candle. You get that too. But this is a little air plant to be your growing chalice flame. So if any children or youth would like to help hand out the gifts, you can come up and join me up here.
Welcome up. You may notice that our RE program is growing. These volunteers we're honoring today show us how to stay engaged in the work of our church, the sacred work of co-creating a community dedicated to our mission. Now here at First UU, we have a culture of appreciation, and our topic today is creativity. So let's appreciate them with creative types of applause that might be more comfortable for people with noise sensitivity. So let's practice some, waving our hands in the air. Thank you. Rubbing our hands together. Quiet snapping. Great, thank you. When I say your name, teachers, if you're present today, please come up here and stay till the end. So let's start by rubbing our hands together for our pre-K and kindergarten teachers, Connor Brayman, Wayne Bachman, that name sounds familiar, Stu Tindler, Louise Tedford, Melanie Walter Mahoney. Come on up. Our first to fifth graders, Molly Hahn, Sadie Lambert, Barbara Wilm. Our middle school youth group advisors, Nancy Bernard, Tricia Coomer, Henry Stokes, Ellen Stansel, Mayling Isaacs. and our high school youth group advisors, Bev Larkin, Ann Vance, Frankie Summers, and Chanel Shackelford. Now, let's switch to snapping for our incredible Our Whole Lives, or OWL, facilitators, who go through intensive training and commit to teaching week after week so we can make the world safer through accurate, inclusive sexuality education. Our kindergarten through third grade OWL facilitators, Eric Olson, Jerome Mayoral, Colin McDougall, and there's that guy again, Wayne Bachman. Our 8th to 9th grade OWL facilitators, Rosella Altman, Jason Romero, Henry Stokes, and Vanessa McDougall. Now, our 8th to 9th grade level is the longest, most comprehensive OWL program with 25 hour-and-one-half sessions. So instead of adding an extra Sunday in June, the facilitators opted to just start class late today, so they're joining us for a few minutes before heading in to teach again. I especially want to thank Rosella, Jason, and Henry, who agreed to teach OWL for the first time this year with the promise that they'd only have to teach once or twice a month. Well, that's not what happened. What we found out with all of our volunteer-led classes this year is that people have less capacity right now than they thought they would, and many people who signed up to teach weren't able eventually to do so because of things that came up during the year. Now, this happened early on in this class, and these three ended up teaching almost every week. That's right. As a special thank you gift for your dedication to keeping this class going, we're giving you a gift certificate to our First UU bookstore to help nourish your spirit. Thank you. And last but not least, we're saying a huge thank you and a goodbye to Alberta Reyes, who is here for her last Sunday after being on our child care staff for 7 years and our child care coordinator for the past 2 years. There's Alberta. Alberta's calm, reassuring presence and experience has been so beneficial to our youngest UUs and will be greatly missed. Alberta, we thank you, we wish you well, and we look forward to welcoming you back whenever you're able to visit. Let's try our hand-waving applause one more time for Alberta. Very good.
So I think we're going to put the extras back on the table because some people couldn't be here today. Okay, let's now thank all of our teachers with a call and response. When I hold out my hands, you'll say, "We say thank you." Can we try that? We say thank you. For the gift of your time. We say thank you. For the gift of your creativity. We say thank you. For the gift of your patience. We say thank you. For the gift of your loving care. We say thank you. Now let's sing meditation on breathing as we return to our seats or to OWL class, for those of you who never get a moment in here, right? Or if any younger people are ready to be done with worship today, they are welcome to go to the nursery. Now is the time in our service where we center ourselves together.
we breathe together. And breathing together, we follow our breath to a deeper place inside, a place of greater wisdom, a place of greater creativity, a place where we sense never-ending possibility, a place where that spark of the divine dwells within each of us. And breathing together, we enter into a time of sacred silence together, remembering that the sounds of small children and other human sounds are a part of that silence in this congregation. Breathing in, breathing out, we now enter into that time of sacred silence together. In a moment, I will invite you, as the music begins, to light candles of sorrow, joy, remembrance, hope. And as we light our candles, let us hold in our hearts a joy. Nathan Reed and Harper Shaw, sons of Gillian Redfern and Corey Reed, and Lisa and Jason Shaw, met in the halls of our church at age 5 and have been friends ever since. They went to college together and will graduate together Saturday, May 20th from Austin College. Let's please also hold in our hearts our trans beloveds. It's been a traumatic, difficult few weeks at the Texas legislature. I now invite you to light candles, and when the music comes to an end, to hold the meditative silence. Our reading this morning is by white, cisgendered artist, writer, and ordained minister in the United Methodist Church, Jan Richardson. It's titled, "This Grace That Scorches Us." Here's one thing you must understand about this blessing. It is not for you alone. It is stubborn about this. Do not even try to lay hold of it if you were by yourself, thinking you can carry it on your own. To bear this blessing, you must first take yourself to a place where everyone does not look like you or think like you. A place where they do not believe precisely as you believe, where their thoughts and ideas and gestures are not exact echoes of your own. Bring your sorrow, bring your grief, bring your fears, bring your weariness, your pain, your disgust at how broken the world is, how fractured, how fragmented by its fighting, its wars, its hungers, its penchant for power, its ceaseless repetition of the history it refuses to rise above. I will not tell you this blessing will fix all of that, but in this place where we have gathered, wait. Watch. Listen. Lay aside your inability to be surprised, your resistance to what you do not understand. See then whether this blessing turns to flame on your tongue, sets you speaking what you cannot fathom, or opens your ear to a language beyond your imagining that comes as a knowing in your bones, a clarity in your heart that tells you this is the reason we were made. For this ache that finally opens us, for this struggle, this grace that scorches us toward one another and into the blazing day.
I have twins who just turned 9. And when they were babies and I tried to take them to a store, I was surprised by how many people wanted to stop to talk to me about them. And not just talk, but to say the same 4 things. Are they twins? How old are they? Are they boys or girls? You've got your hands full. Sometimes that last one would vary and they'd say, "You're doubly blessed," or "2 for the price of 1," or "You must be tired." But just a few variations, and it was astonishingly consistent. During a typical trip to HEB, I would be stopped 20 times. 20 times, y'all. And 20 times I would hear, "Oh, are they twins? How old are they? Are they boys or girls? You've got your hands full." I remember thinking it was as if someone was standing outside the front door handing out flyers and saying, "If you see a woman with 2 babies, please say this to her." It was a script. It was a cultural script that everyone in this culture was using without even realizing it. And even though no one talks about it, it's such a widespread phenomenon that if you go online, you can find t-shirts printed with the answers to these questions, designed to save time for twin parents. Because if you've ever taken a baby to the grocery store, let alone 2, you know that time is limited if you don't want a screaming baby during checkout. And as much as I love connecting with people, and as much as I knew they were well-meaning and unaware that they were repeating the exact same script as the last 20 people, I just didn't have time for all those interruptions. So I stopped making eye contact with people. When I noticed people about to stop me, I would pretend not to see them and turn the other way. It didn't feel great. I felt rude, and I don't like feeling rude. but it was necessary. One thing that really struck me was how many hundreds of people during that year said to me, "You have your hands full," without a single one of them offering to help. Isn't that interesting? I think it's evidence that this was just a script. They weren't really thinking about what they were saying. They weren't bad or unkind people. They just were saying words that were coming out of their brain. So fast forward a few years to the Easter egg hunt in 2021, a rare in-person event while we were still meeting virtually as a church. I was standing around watching the kids with a parent who had joined while we were virtual. I turned to him and said, "I'm just so glad you could come today." And then we turned away and we looked at the kids, and I turned back to continue the small talk and heard myself saying, "I'm just so glad you could come today." What is happening? I thought. Why are these words coming out of my mouth again? So I tried again. You know what happened. I said it 3 times, y'all. I'm glad. Thank you, Mark, for not leaving the church forever. Yeah. And as I tried to recover from my mortification, I realized with absolute clarity what had happened. My small talk scripts were gone. It was like there was a computer program in my brain with the command, "retrieve from small talk folder." But my very efficient brain had thrown all of my small talk scripts in the trash because I hadn't been using them. There I was, trying to make small talk after a year of social isolation with nothing to say. A few weeks later, we had our first no coffee hour outside, where we all stood around talking about how we didn't know how to make small talk anymore. Y'all remember that? And I told that story to many of you. It was the only thing in my small talk folder now, so I had to repeat it. Yeah. These experiences led me to my pet theory of scripts. I'm sure there's a real psychological term, but I just call them scripts. The idea that we have these scripts in our brain that we didn't consciously put there and we aren't aware of, most of them are probably harmless, but they may not help us connect in the way that we're intending. What I found out when trying to repopulate that small talk folder in spring of 2021 is that we can craft scripts in alignment with our values once we become aware of them. So to test this theory of scripts, I need a little help. There's a group of people in the sanctuary today that I'm guessing hears the same thing from a lot of different people. I'm talking to my growing people here. Children and youth, will you help me out? Are any of you left? Yeah. So I'd like you to stand up if you ever hear anyone say to you, "You've gotten so tall." Or, "I can't believe how much you've grown." Or, "You're looking so grown up." Thank you. Yes. Okay, now keep standing. If it makes you feel really good, not just neutral, not anything, but really good when people say that to you, please raise your hand. No, don't sit down. Stay standing. Stay standing. But I'm guessing what you mean by that is no, it doesn't make you feel really good, right? Okay, now tell me, who is it that says this to you? Is it adults or other kids? Adults? Anyone kids? All adults? All adults. Okay, thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you. You may sit down. Yes. So "look how much you've grown" is something most adults say to most kids, right? Adults said it to me when I was a kid. People say it to my kids all the time. I try not to say it to kids because I'm aware of this, but even yesterday morning in the midst of writing this, I said it to my kid. It just happens, right? Because here's the thing. Watching kids grow fills adults with wonder, which is silly if you think about it. We know they're going to grow. It is not a surprise. I have been doing paid childcare since the age of 12, and I have a degree in child development. I know that babies are going to grow. And yet, every time when I see one of our church babies toddling down that hallway to the nursery for the first time on their own 2 feet, it catches my breath. I am filled with awe and wonder and delight. When I see a kid who I've known since they were tiny up here singing to us so amazingly today, I am filled with awe and wonder and delight. And I cherish that feeling. I never want to lose that feeling of awe when beholding the miraculousness of life and growth. It's our first UU source, the feeling of transcending mystery and wonder. But what I'm trying to learn, and I do mean trying, because this is something we all do and it's so deeply ingrained, is how to hold on to my feelings for myself without othering the person in front of me by pointing out something that to me feels special or different, but to them just feels really ordinary.
Okay, let's have a communal moment of releasing of guilt or shame. Because we were all sitting there going, I've got some of those scripts that Kelly was talking about, weren't we? We all do. These scripts come out of our life experiences, the culture in which we grew up, the culture in which we exist now, the very societal waters in which we swim. We take them on without even realizing it. And sometimes they can even be helpful, help us make sense of life. Sometimes, though, they are unhelpful or just plain wrong. Sometimes they can harm others even when that is not at all our intent. Left unchecked, these scripts can arise out of what social scientists call implicit bias. That's when we hold attitudes or stereotypes towards people without our conscious knowledge. And importantly, we don't have to hold any explicit prejudice for implicit bias to be lurking about outside of our awareness. So I suppose it's convenient that you can actually take a test for your implicit bias at projectimplicit.net. And there's a good reason to do this, because research shows that unearthing such biases can be a first step towards changing these unconscious scripts. Now, a few warnings. First, it can be very disconcerting, even upsetting, to get a test result that tells you, I'm biased. Second, our level of implicit bias can change depending on our social environment. Let me give you an example. I was in a seminary class on racial justice in Chicago. The class was very diverse, so our discussions were rich and included perspectives from folks from a variety of different races and ethnicities. During the class, they asked us to take an implicit bias test on race. Now, I was all proud of myself because my test showed no racial bias whatsoever. And then 3 weeks after I got back to Austin, I took it again, and implicit bias started to show up. Well, I was pretty darn upset with myself. But then I got to thinking, I got to asking myself, what was I seeing as I watched network television? Who was most often the bad guy? How often did every protagonist look and sound just like me? Well, that's when I stopped watching network television, though I will admit to streaming Ted Lasso religiously these days. Anyway, after a few weeks of cutting back on network television, the implicit bias started to disappear again. Now, finally, I want to warn you that because of the potential for internalized oppression, when folks from historically marginalized groups take one of these tests, it can sometimes show that we have a negative bias toward, well, ourselves. That is no fun. So, while I encourage you to explore these implicit biases and the test, please also know I'm available to you if you take the test and find yourself troubled by the results. And again, exploring them is important because implicit biases too often get expressed in behaviors that unintentionally marginalize other people. These have been often called microaggression. I want you to be aware, though, that that term can be problematic because the impact of these behaviors is often anything but micro for those on the receiving end of them. Better descriptions include exclusionary behaviors or unaware othering. For now, though, if you want to delve into this more, and I encourage you to do so, you'll still have to search the term microaggression because that's what's been used in all the scientific research so far. And I'm going to send you to a website, microaggressions.com, because it has stories people have submitted of their own experiences of these exclusionary behaviors, and those experiences provide such a powerful way to truly grasp the impact of them. And these exclusionary behaviors can happen here at our church, as Kelly noted, even when our intent is to welcome and create connections with one another. Let me give you just a couple more examples. One exclusionary question can be, what do you do? For many other cultures, one's work is not as central to personal identity as it can be among white professionals. In fact, I grew up in a blue-collar culture where career and self-identity are far less bound together. So when I was younger and I got asked this question, I was often confused by it. I was like, I don't know, I hike? I go to movies? Breathe? I don't know. Another example of potentially unaware othering is to assume someone was not born in the U.S. because of how they look or sound to us, and then to ask, so where are you from? A friend of mine who was born in the U.S. to parents who had immigrated from Korea told me she always wants to answer that question with, Beaumont, Texas. What's your godforsaken place of birth? Apologies to Beaumont and my family members who still live in the area. So anyway, let's uproot implicit bias. Let's work hard to become more aware of our scripts and get creative about ways we might engage one another to avoid this unaware othering and instead create welcoming, connection, beloved community.
Moving beyond these exclusionary behaviors isn't easy, but it is something our faith calls us to do. And it's something we get to help each other do as a religious community. And I think when we work creatively together, it might even be fun. Let's try something a little fun today with a little activity of coming up with new questions to ask each other during coffee hour. To help expand our individual perspectives, we're going to do this with a partner. If you're watching on the live stream with someone else, have this conversation with them, or if you're by yourself, reach out through the chat to connect with someone. To avoid unaware othering, we'll brainstorm questions that we can ask anyone, regardless of their age, skin color, clothes, how well we know them. Do you like bananas? What's your favorite tree? Have you tried the coffee today? Once you found a partner, ask each other this: what would you love to talk about if only people would ask the right question? Then help each other craft a question based on your partner's answer, but that's broad enough that you could ask anyone. For example, if my partner says, I just love bananas, people don't talk about bananas enough, you know? My question could be, what's your favorite fruit? Or if they say, I love playing Dungeons and Dragons, my question could be, are there any games you like to play? When you're done, you should have a broad question that, based on your partner's answer, that you can use during coffee hour to ask anyone and everyone that you meet. Growing people, if you don't feel comfortable talking to a stranger, ask your grown-up to help talk to them with you. It will really help them to hear what you have to say. Introverts, if this activity makes you wish you hadn't come today, please feel free to pass. We're going to take 5 minutes. Are you ready? We're going to find a partner, ask them what they want to talk about, come up with a question, and then switch.
If you're online, please feel free to do this in the comments. okay, I didn't hear you, sorry. Yeah, yeah, we've got lots of laughs. Swing it. I'm going to go back to the podium. Ah.
Man, I want to go back and read it 8 more times. You know, we can also say, is if you didn't get a chance to get to go, you can both pose the same question.
Yeah. If you haven't heard what your partner would like to be asked about, it's time to switch. We're going to wrap it up in about 30 seconds. About 15 seconds. I loved how that kind of just faded to quiet. That was very nice. Thank you all for your enthusiasm and participation. We hope that you will carry these conversations and these questions with you as we go out to the party that we're going to have right after this service. Now, if you would rise in body or spirit as we sing together hymn number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
Holy
Let there now be an offering to support the mission and ministries of this church. If you're with us online, you can go to austinuu.org and click on Give to First UU. And no matter whether you're here or online, you can also text your gift to 84321. The ushers will now collect the offering.
They can say we've lost our mind. I don't care, so call us crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build, every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our mind. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see, I close my eyes to see. The brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. What the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Thank you so much for your gifts. They are greatly appreciated. We are a busy church these days, so I have several things to let you know about going on in the life of the church. First, As I mentioned during the teacher appreciation ceremony, we're struggling to find enough teachers, advisors, and OWL facilitators to keep our religious education program running. Our regular teachers take the summer off, and we'd love to have your help with our summer program, a makerspace for pre-K through 12th grade. Sign up for just one Sunday or as many as you'd like on the big poster in the foyer today. You can also donate recyclables outside of Kelly's office. Also, after the service today, you can help save the planet and yourself some money by going to the Green Sanctuary table in Howson Hall after today's service and taking home free environment-saving devices. If we all do something, we can change everything. Reminder that today we will have our annual pre-congregational meeting here in the sanctuary and over Zoom. We will have our annual election of new board and nominating committee members, a report on the state of the church, a report on how we can secure the future of our church. So please join us for that. The silent auction is still running in Howson Hall. Not to be missed, look at the grab bags. Your kids will love them. We're turning our focus towards welcoming, which you heard a little bit about today. On Sunday, June 11th, after church, Reverend Aaron and Kinsey Shackelford will hold a workshop on welcoming, similar to the workshops we've held in the church on our church history and on caring. Everyone is invited. Keep an eye out for an email that'll have more details. Our family lunch today, by the way, will be on the courtyard. Our roofers left some problems on the playground area, so we'll do it in the courtyard instead. A reminder that we're having a party for John Lou right after I stop talking. We'll have ice cream and cake. We will be all ages again next Sunday for the service. And finally, after the postlude, whether you're online or here in person, please stick around for just a moment as our President-elect Vic Cornell will give you an update on the interim search. Now, please join me as we say our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again. A benediction is a blessing, so I return to our poem from earlier. To bear this blessing, you must first take yourself to a place where everyone does not look like you or think like you. A place where they do not believe precisely as you believe, where their thoughts and ideas and gestures are not exact echoes of your own. Let's carry this blessing out into our world together. Go in peace. I send you much love.
One morn I awakened, a new sun was shining. The sky was a kingdom, all covered in blood, and the moon and the stars were the troops who lay conquered, like fruit left to wither. Poor spiritual food, and the spears of the bright sun, all brave with its conquest, did hover unearthly in banners of fire. And I knelt in the garden, awash in the dawning. Our voice came so brightly, I covered my eyes. Thank you for giving this bright new morning, so steeped in the evening, in banners of blood. Let there be no sadness, no sorrow. Let there be no road too narrow. There'll be a new day, and it's today. It's for us. let there be no road too narrow. There'll be a new day, and it's today. It's for us.
Interim ministry search. If you're unfamiliar with the process, it's kind of like online dating. All the congregations that are in search ask for what they want. All the ministers who are in search ask for what they want, and then we match. In our case, we have matched. So we will have someone coming in as we lose John Alou and Aaron, unfortunately. But we will be getting Reverend Michelle LaGrave, who is currently with Emerson UU in Houston. She and her partner will be coming here probably midweek this week to look for a place to live. And they will be starting with us, I believe, 8/1. So there you go.